Welcome to the Daily Devo. My name is Jeremy, and today we want to talk about Jesus being anointed at dinner. I was reading a story the other day, and it was about a man who was a former professional baseball player. This was back in 1989, and he became a famous wine merchant based out of New York. He owned the most expensive bottle of wine in the world at that time. It was made in 1787. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce what it was called because I'll just embarrass myself. But at the time, the bottle was worth $225,000. He brought it to the Four Seasons Hotel for the simple purpose of showing off to his friends. Remember, he was a professional baseball player, so he had great hand-eye coordination, and he was an athlete. He was sure that the wine would be safe in his sure hands. Well, he clumsily dropped the bottle and shattered it. He personally believed the bottle was worth $500,000, but the insurance company only gave him $225,000 for it because the restaurant manager tasted it after it shattered and said it didn't taste very good. The insurance company gave him less than half of what it was worth because they perceived a different value. This is important with what I want to talk to you about today, because sometimes what we think is valuable is not the same as what God thinks is valuable. Let's read Mark chapter 14, verses 1 through 9. The verses say, "Now the Passover and the festival of unleavened bread were only 2 days away. And the chief priests and the teachers of the law were scheming to arrest Jesus secretly and kill him. But not during the festival, they said, or the people will riot. While he was in Bethany, reclining at the table in the home of Simon the leper, a woman came with an alabaster jar of very expensive perfume made of pure nard. She broke the jar and poured the perfume on his head. Some of those present were saying indignantly to one another, 'Why this waste of perfume? It could have been sold for more than a year's wages and the money given to the poor,' and they rebuked her harshly. 'Leave her alone,' said Jesus. 'Why are you bothering her? She's done a beautiful thing for me. The poor you will always have with you, and you can help them anytime that you want, but you will not always have me. She did what she could. She poured perfume on my body beforehand to prepare me for my burial. Truly I tell you, wherever the gospel is preached throughout the world, what she's done for me will be told in memory of her.'" This story takes place on the Wednesday of what we call Holy Week. Jesus is just resting. He knows what's before him, but even in his rest, he teaches a valuable lesson about love and generosity. The verses told us that there were those that were in the room that grumbled about her sacrifice. It was worth more than a year's wages. It was expensive, just like that wine I told you about. To those watching, the value was in having the thing. But to Jesus, the value was in that she took what was meant to be used sparingly and used it generously. I don't know who those grumblers were, but they sounded awful like the disciples to me. Sometimes your generosity and sacrifice won't make sense to others, and it doesn't always have to. For this woman, it was enough for it just to be a gift for Jesus. The blessing is in the doing, not just in the receiving. In our service, it's in the doing, not just in the bragging about it on social media. In our financial giving, the blessing is in the giving, not in the reaping some sort of reward or status at church. At the end of the day, who looked more like Jesus? The woman who gave her best, or the grumblers talking about how impractical it was? The man who owned that expensive bottle of wine wanted to just keep it. The value was not in drinking it, but holding onto it for as long as possible. Jesus puts the value in the selfless doing for others. He proved this to you and I when he chose to go to the cross. He looked at mankind and said, "The greatest thing that I can give is myself," and he did so freely. Let's be like that woman. Let's give generously of our time. Let's give generously of our resources and our influence. Thanks for joining us today on the Daily Devo.